Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on my video. Welcome to my channel Jesus and We. If you're watching it for the first time, please do not forget to subscribe and support the channel. Today we are going to be talking about Jonathan. Jonathan is such a beautiful character. You will get to know him as I speak. So we see in many situations that he's always been there for David, with David. Even when he was in wilderness, he travels all the way to that wilderness in 1 Samuel chapter 23 verses 16 and 17, and he comforts him. David is completely broken. He's not understanding what's happening in his life and why people are chasing him. And there are many questions on David's mind at this point of a time, but Jonathan has always been there with David, and he's making a covenant with David. I mean, there are many good qualities of Jonathan that are hidden here, in this complete book. And I want to tell you about that. You see, he had his father on one side who was possessed with evil spirits, and he had David on the other side with whom he had a covenant, and he had to protect David from his father. And I like the way he actually stood up for God, in the sense he stood up for the truth. Even though Saul was his father, he stood up for the truth. Jonathan's life did not end well. The Bible doesn't talk about it to be very great. His end was not good. It was not peaceful. And I asked God just one question. God, you said that you will reward people accordingly. If they do something good, you will reward them. I felt like it didn't have an ending to it. I felt like there was no justice done for that story. So I kept reading, and that's when I came to 2 Samuel. In 2 Samuel chapter 9 verse 1 to 7, we see here that David is established as king, and he's sitting on his throne. Everyone has Saul is dead, and everyone is dead, so his throne, he has got his throne, and he is sitting in peace. So now he's not keeping quiet, but he's thinking, okay, he's calling his servant, and he's asking, is there anyone left of Jonathan's family that I can help? So immediately he says, yes, there's someone who's alive. His name is Mephibosheth, and he is the son of Jonathan. So he's like, okay, bring him to me. So we see here in verses 1 through 7, but I'm going to read it from in between. He says, so King David had him brought from Lodabar, from the house of Machir, son of Ammiel. When Mephibosheth, son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, came to David, he bowed down to pay him honor. David said, Mephibosheth, at your service, he replied. Do not be afraid, David said to him, for I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. I will restore to you all the land that belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will always eat at my table. So here Mephibosheth, the meaning of the name Mephibosheth is mouth of shame, from the mouth of shame. And the place he was staying in was Lodabar, which means land of nothing. There is no fruit, there is no pasture, there is nothing. So we see here that this son of Jonathan, a royal son who's supposed to be sitting in a palace after the death of his father and grandfather, is somewhere in a land of nothing, and he is called as a shame. Because we see what happens here in 2 Samuel chapter 4 verse 4. It says that as everyone was running here and there, a nurse carried Mephibosheth, and by mistake she drops him, and he falls down. He becomes lame. He becomes disabled. He's becoming nothing. He's becoming good for nothing. Just imagine how he would have felt. I'm nothing. I mean, just because of my grandfather, because the sins of Saul did so many things that people were getting back at them and their family. They were searching for Saul's family to kill them completely, and they were running and they were chasing them, so they had to flee everywhere. Most of them died, and Mephibosheth and few others escaped, and people were living in grudge. They wanted to take revenge on Saul's family. Saul's sins were so much, and the curses fell on his children and his grandchildren. So Mephibosheth is in this place called Lodabar, and he's thinking, God, why am I suffering with this curse? Why am I suffering like this? I am lame because of my grandfather. I did not do anything, but I'm suffering like this. But you know what? God made David remember. God put that thought in David, and David remembered Mephibosheth, and he bought a boy who was living in shame out of the land of nothing, and he's saying, "Come, sit with me and sit in my table, sit with all the princes and eat with me at my table." You know why David remembered Mephibosheth at that point of a time? It is because of the deeds of Jonathan. It is because of the prayers of Jonathan. It is because of the goodness of Jonathan that God remembered his children and he broke the curse. A lot of us think we need to go to prayer meetings, get our, the evil spirits driven away and curses to be broken. Many things need to be done. But the very simple remedy to that is prayer and good deeds. And Jonathan did that. He was being faithful. If we are only faithful and loyal to God, God can break any curse. Nothing can even stand in front of us. Things will tremble. The evil spirits will tremble. And that's what happened here. God remembered Jonathan and his good deeds. And he bought Mephibosheth on the mind of David, and he bought him and made him sit. And we see at the end that till the end, Mephibosheth lived a royal life. And he ate with King David. Today, my friend, you might be thinking, I am spending so much of time on that person, I'm comforting that person, but I'm not getting any reward. I'm helping them, but look at my life, how it is. You may think that, oh, I'm counseling them, I'm on the phone for a long time, I'm helping this ministry, I'm sending these messages, but I don't see the fruit. You may be thinking that, is anyone even watching the small things that I do, the things that I'm doing? Let me tell you something, even the most smallest thing is noticed by God. We see here that Jonathan is going and comforting David in his wilderness. All those small things, those small incidents where he was faithful and loyal, God noticed that. And you know what he did? He bought his son from the land of nothing, from a land of curse. He bought him out and made him to sit on a palace. Finally, the son of David and the son of Jonathan, they both died royally in a palace. And that is how God showed me that he would reward us. Most of the time we expect rewards and appreciation immediately at that point of our time. We want something good to happen immediately, but God has his own way of rewarding people. See, God remembered Mephibosheth because of Jonathan. God will remember your children because of the good deeds and the prayers that you do. Maybe you will be alive to see it or not, but remember one thing, you may go to the grave, but the only two things that never come to the grave with you are your good deeds and your prayer. Your prayers and your good deeds will stay back here, and God will be faithful, and he'll take one prayer request at a time. He'll make sure that he fulfills every prayer that you've been making, and he will reward every good deed that you've been doing, and then he will finish his job. Until then, he never rests, my friend. Even when the Gibeonites come and ask David, we want to take revenge on Saul. He has killed all our people and we are left with nothing. Send who are all there from the family of Saul who are alive. Send them to us because we want to kill them. But you know what David does? He protects Mephibosheth, and he sends the others who are alive, and he protects Mephibosheth. That shows that God will protect your children. Do not worry about your family. Do not worry about your children. No matter where they are, no matter how cursed they are, no matter in what kind of a land of nothing they are, because of your good deeds, because of your prayers, because of how you are standing for God, God will definitely bring your children back from the land of nothing. And that is how God will reward you. Just like how he rewarded Jonathan. Maybe he was not there to see it. He rewarded him by keeping Mephibosheth in a very high position till the end, even though he didn't deserve it. Through his mercy, God will also bring your children and keep them in a place higher than you can ever imagine. So as Galatians chapter 6 verse 9 says, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. So do not give up, my friend. Do not give up forgiving people. Do not give up comforting people. Do not give up praying. Do not give up reading the Bible. Do not give up being faithful to God, because even the smallest thing that you do in private, God will notice that, and he is noticing that, and he's at work behind, and he will greatly reward you. Hope this video was helpful. Do not forget to like and share. I will meet you all in my next video. This is me, Shalina, signing off. Bye.